Many people seek a path to greatness, yet the way forward often looks like a violently churning river. Instinctively, we look for a pre-built bridge, a mentor or a societal blueprint to carry us safely across. These blueprints come at a price. While countless trails and guides offer to ferry you across the water, they do so only if you are willing to pawn off your own potential in exchange for their direction. This desire for safety leads to the herd. Here, collective morality provides a sense of respectability and a shared definition of justice that feels secure. On the surface, the herd presents a block of virtue and justice, but its hidden underside reveals a powerful impulse to punish. This mechanism locks that impulse behind a barrier of powerlessness. The herd calls itself good simply because it lacks power. Staying within this collective moral framework prioritizes social comfort. In this environment, the individual sacrifices the friction necessary to develop a unique path. Because the crowd's virtues are designed for collective stability, achieving a state of greatness requires a departure from these shared safety nets. This departure leads to a path that none can walk but you. The objective is to move forward without demanding to know exactly where the path leads. On this solitary path, the individual targets goals labeled as the great and the impossible. This chart maps certainty against courage. When certainty of success is high, courage remains low. As certainty drops near zero, the demand for courage spikes. Courage exists only where success is at risk. Shrinking away from impossible challenges rejects the exact conditions required for greatness. The impossibility of a goal is precisely what makes it worth pursuing. The risk involved is the mechanism that generates the courage needed to grow. This growth follows the law of twins. Happiness and misfortune are inextricably linked. They are like these saplings, growing tall only when they grow together. The herd attempts to prune away misfortune and pain. By minimizing their exposure to risk, they inadvertently force their capacity for happiness to remain small. The solitary individual accepts the possibility of massive failure. This openness to misfortune allows their potential for greatness to scale upward. You cannot expand one side of the twin relationship without the other. The depth of potential suffering sets the limit for the height of potential achievement. After crossing the solitary path, the individual undergoes a final transformation into what is described as the great man. This state is defined by a lack of fear regarding public opinion. He becomes harder and less hesitating, shedding the virtues associated with respectability. Because he lacks the virtues of the herd, he finds his internal world is incommunicable to those around him. He avoids familiarity, finding it utterly tasteless. Solitude serves as a structural requirement to maintain this state. If he cannot lead the crowd, he moves alone to preserve his perspective. To interact with a society that cannot understand his nature, he uses a mask. This facade allows him to navigate the world while keeping his true self protected. He carries an internal solitude that is inaccessible to others. This core identity remains shielded from both the praise and the blame of the crowd. The choice to leave the herd leads to a harsh conclusion. The price of reaching the highest levels of individual greatness is absolute solitude.